Oh, hello there. Today I thought we'd talk a little about the games I really loved this year. Not necessarily really my game of the year, but the games that came around this year that I just want to talk about that are definitely on my list for games of the year. And one caveat to this is you have to realize I don't play every game that comes out. I do have a limited time, I have a limited budget, especially this year. I do have little kiddos running around. So I can't play everything and anything that comes out, but I definitely try to play as much as I can nowadays because I'm a gamer through and through, right? That's what makes me happy in this world. So people need to do what makes them happy, right? It's the only way you'll get through it. So that's why we like talking about it. That's why I like talking about it and sharing the joy of it with you. And hopefully you can share with me in the comments below maybe some of the games that are on your list this year that I didn't mention that you would recommend to me based on my list or something like that. And having said that, the games on this list are in no particular order at all. They're just how I randomly wrote it down. So it's not like a top 10 list all in order and everything. So we're just going to go through them and tell you why I like them and all that good stuff. And then, let me know down below what I missed. So the first game I want to talk about today is a game a long time in the making, but it's from my childhood, essentially. And it is TMNT Shredder's Revenge. This game is amazing. It's probably, I think, the best Ninja Turtle game of all time. And now there's some all-time classics on that list. Turtles in Time is another one that's up there. The Hyperstone Heist. Even the Nintendo ones. When I was growing up, when I was a child, the Ninja Turtle game that I played the most was the arcade game on the Nintendo, Turtles 2. So I really like that version, even though obviously it's not as good as the arcade and stuff like that. But it's still nostalgia-wise, that was my childhood Turtles game. I didn't like one all that much. It was a little too hard for me. As, most of the gaming world knows nowadays, it's pretty hard. But Ninja Turtles 2 on the Nintendo, I got at some point, and I played it to death. Like, to death. So when Shredder's Revenge was announced, I was through the moon. Like, I was like, hey, this could be it. This could be reliving my childhood in a great way. And Shredder's Revenge lived up to the hype in every single aspect. The graphics, the sound, the theme song at the beginning, it was amazing. Never mind the online play and the 4-player play, which just rises it over the top of some of the past games. But everything that was put into this game was a love letter to the Ninja Turtles and to the past games. To the cartoon, to everything. They did such a good job with this game. I can't even begin to describe how lucky we are to have some companies that do games like this nowadays. All the bosses, all the characters you can unlock are amazing. April O'Neil, Casey Jones, and even just the basic foot soldiers in the game. They're so different from each other, and they're so different from what has been done in the past. Like, they're so cool. I love the changes to the pizza system, where there's group pizzas now and stuff too, and the pixelated graphics, the 16-bit look to it. I love the pixels. I love looking at pixels, and this game makes me so happy. It fills my heart with joy. And we waited a long time for this game. It was in development for a long time, teasing, and it finally came out. I played it on the Xbox first this year from Game Pass. And then I got the physical Switch version when it came out, and that's the one I'm playing with my kids. Maybe we'll do a Let's Play of it at some point. Don't know. But Shredder's Revenge is definitely on my list this year. So next, we have to talk about it, is probably my game of the year if I did pick one singular title. But God of War Ragnarok came out this year. And God of War Ragnarok, as I've said in my videos, if you've seen any of my videos, is just almost utter perfection in every single category. Graphics, sound, voice acting, music, gameplay. Everything is just amazing. I was never a huge fan of God of War back in the day. I played it a little bit. I played the first ones. They were spectacles upon spectacles. They were super unique. They were super gory. But they were also a little problematic. They were a little too button mashy for me. They were a little too misogynistic for me. And to see where the game is now compared to it was then is just like night and day. Like the original one on the PS4, The story of, Kratos trying to be a better person than he was in the old games. Obviously, he's still God of the War. He's still ripping people's spines out and chewing on their eyeballs. But there's a much more of a human element to it behind the scenes, and that's what I like from single player story driven games. Is I want some humanity in there. I want some common ground. And the original God of War on the PS4 and Ragnarok both deal with a lot of human emotions, not just from Kratos, but from Atreus and from, the cast of characters that are in it too. There's way more human emotions in these ones than the old ones, which were sort of almost surface level a little bit in just the goriness and the visceralness and everything, which is not bad. Like I said, back in the day, I did play most of them, but the new ones are so much more than that. They're that plus so much more. Everything in God of War Ragnarok is near perfection, and I wouldn't change anything. It's been such a journey from start, and I'm almost done. I'm not finished it yet, but from start to where I am, every second of it has been pure joy and fun. I'll do an honorable mention here to Elden Ring, because Elden Ring is a lot of people's game of the year or favorite game of this year. I don't really do open world games myself. I have a limited amount of time, so I feel in open world games, if I run around for an hour and not accomplish anything, it feels like I didn't accomplish anything. So they're just not personally my thing necessarily. I know everyone likes them, and I know Elden Ring deserves all the awards and accolades that it gets. And so I'll never shame anybody for liking what they like. So go Elden Ring. You're not on my list. Get out of here. The next game I want to talk about is a pretty recent game. It's only been out for a few months, and it's going to be a little different than the rest of the games on the list, I guess. Because it's a mobile game. I don't really play mobile games very much. I don't like mobile games. I don't like the monetization in them. I don't like almost anything about them. But I do like Marvel superheroes. So Marvel Snap is right up my alley. I'm an old school Magic the Gathering player. I don't really play anymore. But I used to play a lot back in the day, going to Grand Prix and all that good stuff. So I really, really like card games. And Marvel Snap is the perfect game to scratch that itch. The matches are nice and fast-paced. The monetization is pretty predatory, just like any mobile game nowadays. But once you get a halfway decent selection of cards, which you can, in its defense, get by being a free-to-play player, it's so much fun. And it's so much fun if you know the characters, too. And seeing how their powers are pretty close to sort of the comic stories of the past. They did a great job with matching like the style of the card, the power of the card with the comic book character. It's super impressive. It's super fun. It's nice and quick. And I play it almost every day. So Marvel Snap, you're on my list. The last sort of mega game on my list this year would be Lego Skywalker Saga. Obviously, I'm a Star Wars fan. And obviously, Skywalker Saga is the ultimate Star Wars game, in my opinion. I know it's a Lego game. If you don't like Lego games, you're not going to like Skywalker Saga. But if you do like Lego games and you like Star Wars, then this game should be your game of the year. There's so much content there. There's so many characters to unlock. There's thousands of characters to unlock, vehicles. If you sit down and actually make it a point to unlock stuff, this game has so much gameplay in it that you will never get tired of it. As far as I know, the game took a long time to come out because they were switching game engines. The new engine runs pretty good. I have two versions of this game, the Switch version and the Xbox version. And there's 100% a performance difference between the versions. So I would suggest getting the Xbox or the PS4 or 5 version over the Switch version for sure. But the Switch version's not bad. And literally, this game's got every single Star Wars movie in it. It's got 9, the mainline movies. It's got 9 movies in it. When you start playing the game, you can choose which trilogy you want to start with. The original, the prequels, or the Skywalker Saga. And then each one breaks down into the different movies. And it's almost a full game, each movie. So you're getting so much content with this. It's insane. The humor is great. The graphics are improved from a lot of past Lego games. There's so much stuff to collect. As I've mentioned before, like so much stuff to collect if that's your thing. This is literally the ultimate Star Wars game. If you like Star Wars, you have to get this game. My last few games aren't major releases, but they're definitely games I thought I'd mention this year because they were super good. So Tunic I really loved. It was released on the Xbox originally. It's a small indie developer. And it's basically a Zelda-like game, I will say. I know people use the term Zelda clone a lot with these types of games, but I'm not going to call it a Zelda clone or anything. It's definitely got its differences and its, similarities. But the thing that stands it out above the crowd is the art style and, the character and the environments are very unique. And it's just one of those games you can tell that the developer really cared about what they were doing. Especially with the art style, like I said, the art style and all the environments, the music and the scenery, the storyline, all that extra stuff adds up to something, an experience that you can't really get in many other games nowadays. And that's what made Tunic special. My only gripe about Tunic is it's really hard. It doesn't look like it's going to be a hard game, but it's pretty hard. So buckle up if you're going to play it. The next game I want to talk about in the vein of Tunic a little bit is another smaller game called Stray. I played Stray on the PS5. I think it's on the PS4 also. And a lot of you may have played Stray out there because it's the cat game. Yes, the cat game. Me and my kiddos are a big fan of cats. And so when they saw Stray on my PS5 dashboard, they immediately asked me to download it and play it. And we played it together. And we loved it. Stray is super unique. You get to play as a cat, but it's not just that. So the cat controls are near perfection. Like you really feel like a cat as you're playing. However, silly that sounds to maybe some people, but it's super accurate the way you jump and you move. You can interact with different objects around, like cat interactions with different objects around, like rubbing on it and stuff like that. But it's more than that because of the environment too, the post-apocalyptic sort of environment where you're trapped underground and you're trying to find your way, to the top, or the robot civilization underground doesn't, know what's going up on the top world, which you came from. You fell down there and you got to make your way back up. And it's full of personality. It's full of wonderful art and different robots with different personalities. There's no humans in it as far as I know. And again, it's a super unique game. There's nothing else like it, right? And that's why it's on the list. That's why I liked it this year. The last game I want to talk about is a game I didn't think I would like. And it's called As Dusk Falls. Playable like comic book type games. They don't keep me interested very much. But when I saw this on Game Pass, again, Game Pass, I just felt that I had to give it a try, give it a shot. So I played it, and I must say it really drew me in. I was expecting to only play it for a little bit, maybe get bored a little bit, but I really had a hard time putting it down, to be honest. So it's basically like a storybook. You're playing an animated story, but you make choices for the characters in the story. And your choices change the story, obviously, different ways. There's been a few games like this in the genre pretty recently. A lot of them are still 3D animated. So this one was a little bit different in that it's, 2D. There's not a lot of animation. It's like a storybook style. But it did stand out to me. It gripped me in the story. And you don't need to play, 40-hour epics all year long. You can pick up a game like this once in a while and still be happy. So that's why it's on my list. An honorable mention this year for a game I played quite a lot, didn't come out this year though, is Hades. Yes, Hades. Well, I didn't play it till this year, but out of all the games on this list, other than maybe God of War, I've probably put more time into Hades than anything else. I was never a big player of games that you play just for getting the score, do the same level over and over again, try to get the best score. And that's why I don't do roguelikes very much. Where you play a little bit, you die, you start again. You play a little bit more, die a little bit further, start again. Play a little bit more, and you get the picture. Not all roguelikes are like that, obviously. So I'm just generalizing a little bit. But typically, I don't play a lot of them for that reason. I'm more like narrative-driven games. But then Hades hits that perfect point in the middle where it's got enough narrative with enough of the roguelike stuff in it that just gelled with me. And I loved every second of it. I still love it. I still play it once in a while. I've only beaten it a couple times. I need to beat it, a few more times. Getting those good layouts, those good powers. The company that made it, Supergiant Games, I don't think I've ever not liked one of their games. I've loved every one of their games. And what I love most about their games is actually the art style. They have such a different and unique art style that I just can't get enough of, and I absolutely cannot wait for Hades 2. Hades 2 will most likely be my game of the year next year. Just you watch. Just you watch. And like I said, I don't play every game because limited time, limited budget, all that good stuff. All the adult stuff, So there's a list of games that I wish I played this year that might be on this list that I've heard good things about. And maybe I'll get around to playing them, I just haven't had time yet. So the first game I wish I played this year is Live Alive by Squaresoft. I've actually heard really good things about this game, and I love some old school RPGs. I don't have a lot of time nowadays, that's why I don't play too many of them anymore. But RPGs, 2D RPGs like that, were my bread and butter, my lifeblood when I was younger. They were my favorite genre, and I played almost all of them. And Live Alive looks great, from the graphic style to the, different stories. There's 8 different stories, I think, or 6 to 8. And I've heard such good things about it. It's not too long, it's very fun and all that good stuff. So I wish I played it this year and could add it to the list. Horizon Forbidden West is another one. I don't do many open world games, as I've mentioned before. But the 2 most recent ones that obviously I played to death and really liked were Breath of the Wild and the first Horizon. And so my PS5 came with Horizon Forbidden West. I just haven't tried it yet. I haven't put it in yet. Haven't had the time, but I would love to do it someday for sure. I'm not going to go around and find all the little nooks and crannies. I'm not going to do all the side stories. That's not my thing in open world games, but I for sure want to play it someday. The next one is one that I wanted to play with my kids, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. We played the demo of it and we loved it, but there's so many games to play nowadays. It's hard to pick and choose what we play and what we don't play. So it's definitely one this year that I really wanted to play and I just never got around to it. And I've heard such good things about it. It's on many people's games of 2002 lists, so I wish it was on mine, but it just didn't happen. And the last game is a very recent game. I think it came out just a couple weeks ago. Maybe a week ago. It's Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. I played this game on the original PSP, and it was pretty good. Some of the gameplay wasn't that great, but this updated version using the graphics from the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it looks to be a very similar battle system too. I'm super interested in playing this as soon as I get time, but it definitely won't be before the end of the year, so that's why it's on my I wish I played it this year list. Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I'll be quite clear about that. I like the original a little bit more than the new version, honestly. And the time Final Fantasy VII came out, I was in high school. I remember it very fondly, so it's got a super nostalgic place in my heart. And Crisis Core, the original on the PSP, was a great side story to that. A great addition to the Final Fantasy VII universe. And so I'd love to play a new version with newer graphics and all that. The bells and whistles of games nowadays. That'd be super fun. So I wish it was on my list, but it's not. So those are my favorite games that I played this year. If I missed anything weird or something should be on my list, I probably just didn't play it. So you can still let me know in the comments below, though, so I can add it to my to-do list in 2023. But anyways, thanks for having this chat with me. Thanks for watching my videos. That's all I ask for is, subscription and a share and all that good stuff down below. Check out the merch store down below. And I hope 2003 is a great year for gaming, too. Congratulations for making it to the end of a video. Thanks for the support by subscribing and following. My links below. And if you want cool merch like our Bloody Star channel shirt, go to shop.enemyzero.com. Take care.